Good afternoon, everybody. It is meteorologist Angel at Forecast here, and welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are all enjoying your Sunday afternoon, guys. Again, another day of NFL football and all that. And yeah, so today, most of you guys are aware today's video will be who will have the snowiest winter. Because yesterday I did who will have the coldest winter, and yeah, this weekend was gonna be a winter week. Like 2 weeks ago, it was my fall week, and tomorrow I am planning on having my fourth preliminary winter forecast 2019-2020. I don't know if it will for sure happen. I'm trying to make all my maps, and I don't know if I'll have to make it in the video tomorrow. But there's a 75% chance I would do another winter forecast, because many of you guys have been asking about it and getting very excited. And it's been a month since I've posted my last one, so yeah. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for new updates on winter, fall, severe weather, hurricanes, and all that. And also, if you have a question, leave them in the comments below, and I'll answer them. And if you like the video, be sure to hit that like button. Without further ado, let's get in the video. So we're going to be looking at the ENSO outlook right here. And basically, again, this is, if you guys watched yesterday's videos, there's been no new advisories. It shouldn't be until next month, not next month. It still feels like September. We shouldn't really see one until next week or the next 2 weeks. So again, when I do my video tomorrow too, you won't really see a change at all on the ENSO outlooks at all. You just see a change on my maps, obviously. But again, we still have an ENSO neutral conditions are present, and basically what that means, we don't have an El Nino or La Nina, so basically it's in the middle between. And basically when that happens, it means we have warm and cold waters in the Pacific. We don't have more of one or the other. We have basically 50-50 of both of them. So another way to say it is the equatorial sea surface temperatures are above average across the western Pacific Ocean and are below average in the eastern Pacific. So as you can tell, we have very, very warm waters out there in the western and cooler waters in the eastern, which means we have 50% of warm and 50% of cool. So we can't have an El Nino or La Nina. We can't have any of those if the pattern or they're just even. You can't have that. So that's why it's a nada or a neutral. And basically what that is going to bring in, it brings in different conditions every single year if it's a neutral. La Nina and El Nino is bringing the same patterns usually, but with this, it just depends on basically what we could see. And that's why we are keep on looking at the ENSO outlook, so it could become a very big change with a new advisory comes out. And also, we have ENSO neutral is favored during the Northern Hemisphere fall 2019 with a 75% chance, continuing through spring 2020 with a 55 to 60% chance. Basically, all right, we're already in the fall season, but it's saying is there's a 75% chance to continue through all of the fall season. And there's a 55 to 60% chance it continues all the way to spring 2020. And basically, that's bringing in the chance for it to continue for winter too. So basically, all my maps until the new advisory, if it becomes La Nina or El Nino, all my maps will be based on it being a neutral. I can't make my maps if it's La Nina if there's not a huge chance of it happening. So there's a very good chance it will continue through winter. So basically what this says is there's a good chance for it to go through fall, winter, all the way to spring. So now we'll be looking at the probability out here. Here's a summary of what we just read right now. ENSO neutral is most likely to continue through the northern hemisphere spring 2020. Alright, so we're going to be looking at the probability right here. And if you guys don't know what this graph is showing, basically we have we're going to be just basically looking at the chances of these actually happening, and they change every single new advisory, which is I think every first Thursday of the month. I do not exactly know, but here we have the model names, the ENSO, for example, the Sun, the OND, NDJ. We have all these model names, and they forecast the probability. Here we have 10% chance. Here we have 50% chance. Here we have 100%. So basically, they're basically showing you how big of a chance they think it's gonna happen. So basically, we have three colors. We have the blue, which is La Nina forecast probability. The gray is a neutral forecast probability. and the red is a El Nino forecast probability. And again, the lowest the color that has the less probability is actually the blue, because we do have a lower chance of having La Nina. The highest percent is actually 15% chance, which is not super duper high. So again, right now we're still going to say neutral. There is a possibility with the new advisory, we do see La Nina probabilities go up maybe just a little bit, as we are seeing the colder waters in the eastern Pacific become a lot more widespread in the central, and that could maybe bring in a bigger chance for La Nina. But again, you have to wait and see until this new advisory comes out. The second lowest number, or the second highest number, is the red, which is a El Nino. And these numbers have also gone down a lot, actually. So the El Nino probabilities are somewhat a bit lower too, which brings in the chance for a neutral to go a lot higher, which is what we're seeing. So basically, the chances are higher for having it for fall and winter, maybe even in spring, but we can't say that for spring right now. So again, we have the models for El Nino going down all the way to a 10% chance. If you guys looked at last month's video for winter, you remember El Ninos, all of them but one were in the 30% chance, but now all of them are below 30%, which means they're really going down. And also, we're seeing those gray models for a neutral really going up all the way to an 85% chance. So we're really, basically what they're saying is we are really, they basically have a really good idea of what is going to happen. They're really confident of a neutral happening at this point, with it going all the way to an 85% chance, which is actually pretty high. And that's leaving such a low chance for the others, for La Nina and El Nino. Now we're going to be looking at the model outlook, and what this is, it brings in, or it's all these type of models right here that are going to be forecasting. It's not probability, it's just seeing what they think could happen. If you guys do not know what an El Nino is, or no, now that you know what it is, I'm sorry. So most of you guys, none of you guys know exactly what the El Nino and La Nina is. If you guys want to know how to describe it in a different way, El Nino is above 0.5 Celsius. That anything above this black line is a El Nino. Anything below this line right here, I'm trying to make my lines aren't the best. Can't control this thing. Anything below this black line is La Nina, and anything in between these two black lines is a neutral. So again, these are going to be models forecasting where they think it's going to go and what happens. So as you can tell, we have a good amount of models right here that are showing El Nino, which is above positive 0.5 Celsius. We actually have a good amount of models out there favoring for it to continue, maybe becoming El Nino before winter. And then we also have the things in between that is actually a neutral. So you can tell we have a lot of models in between these black lines which are favoring a neutral. So we have about a 75% chance, or 75% of these models forecasting maybe a neutral, and then we have about a 24% of it maybe a El Nino, and then we have that 1% that shows a La Nina. And this is actually very, very big change. For those people who saw last month's video too, we didn't have a single model that showed a La Nina. Not a single one, which is why we say La Nina is not really going to happen. You heard me earlier heard me say earlier in the video we could have La Nina probabilities maybe go up in the next advisory. And what that is look, we have a model that came all the way down here to negative 1.0 Celsius, which is actually a decently strong La Nina. And not only that, you guys probably think that's just one thing. Like, what do you mean? Not only that, we have a lot more models coming in than a negative 09s right here. So again, this is positive, and this is negative. Here's the line that separates it right here. My lines aren't the best, but look at all these models that are coming down to negative 09s, which means we could possibly see La Ninas go up. So now you guys know what a La Nina now that you know what a La Nina and El Nino is described and what it is. You guys are still wondering what it brings to the United States. It brings in a favoring temperatures and conditions for the South. It brings in that subtropical jet stream that comes in through the southwest into the deep south central up there into the southeast, which brings actually tropical conditions, or you say, which brings in very, very wet conditions for these areas in the southwest and maybe even all the way into the west. And many of you guys out there in the west complain how hot it is, how dry it is. Well, you guys are going to want to favor a El Nino every year to get that conditions for possibly more below average temperatures, maybe out there just slightly below average temperatures there, and maybe even a lot more precipitation, which does include snow. So if you guys are out there in maybe Phoenix or Albuquerque wanting more snow, you're going to want to favor El Nino. That also brings in the best chances for snowstorms and below average temperatures out there for the south, central, and southeast. When I mean south, I mean deep, deep south, not Tennessee or North Carolina south. I mean the deep south, like Texas, Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and the areas all the way to Florida. Last time we had El Nino, we had some snow out there into Tallahassee. Remember also Winter Storm Benji that brought snow all the way from Houston, stretching all the way to the East Coast, bringing feet of snow in Georgia, which I remember. So that is why I always want to have an El Nino. That also brings in the opposite conditions. It brings in a low pressure system that brings in very, very warm temperatures that come in through the United States. We usually have somewhat a ridge that blocks it off, that keeps this cold air at the south. And then it also brings in dry conditions for the Ohio Valley. Now, for if you guys are wondering what a La Nina brings to the country, of course it brings in the opposite conditions and actually eventually brings in warm conditions, dry conditions for many areas from the southeast to the southwest. So again, if you really don't want the dry temperatures, you're going to see it if you get a La Nina pattern. And also brings in very warm conditions for the southeast, including Georgia, all the way to Oklahoma. And then it brings in that high pressure system, which brings in a lot of polar jet streams and a lot of blizzards and a lot of snowstorms that come in a bit earlier than usual. And that brings in also some wet conditions, and that brings in actually a lot of nor'easters, as we have those wet, when the wet meets with the cold air, that it moves up, that will bring in a lot of nor'easters and a lot of lake effect snow in the areas near Buffalo. We remember we had about 5 to 6 feet of snow in those areas, and it brings in very cold temperatures and wet conditions out there for the northwest and for the northern plains. Now it's time for my map right here. So this is my new updated map. I believe I've used new colors. Don't remember exactly what colors I used on my last one, but I think I used one new color, which is that yellow. But this is my map for my new updated, who will have the snowiest winter 2019-2020, number 3. And this is my new update right here. I want to explain my colors. So the dark blue is actually will have a snowy winter. And so that comes in, again, guys, this is based on average. So if you get, let's say, Atlanta, for example, their average, I think, is 2 inches of snow. They get, let's say, if they're in the blue, that means they maybe get 4 inches of snow, which is actually very snowy for that time of the year and based on average. So it doesn't mean, if you're in the snowiest, it doesn't mean you're going to get the most amount of snow out of the whole country. That's not how it works. It's just, you get a lot more snow than average, basically. Some dark blue was the snowy winter from areas in the Rocky Mountains out there through Idaho, areas of Oregon, through the areas of the western United States, through Utah, Colorado, even near that northwestern or northeastern part of New Mexico, through that northern or that panhandle of not New York, Texas. That comes in maybe even a bit more, maybe just over an inch, maybe possibly for northern Louisiana. Again, this is off average. And through southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, through the area of the coast. I don't think we're going to have too much coastal snow this year. Again, that could change. I just don't think we're going to see that much, really more snow than average in those coastal areas. I think that's maybe just a little bit more pushy. And that goes up through the northeast. Now for my second color, which is the purple, that is very snowy winter based on average, and that comes in through the areas of Montana, Wyoming, Nebraska, and to the central plains out there in Kansas, maybe a bit more bigger blizzards out there, and that comes through northern Arkansas. And this is actually where it becomes a little difficult right here. If you guys are wondering when it goes up like this. I think we'll have to include southern Tennessee and most of Tennessee, or southern Kentucky and most of Tennessee in this blue in this blue color, because I think when we have these snowstorms coming in, I think that just bring in a bit more rain for these areas. So I don't think we're gonna have that much more snow than average, if you guys are wondering. But if you guys are wondering why I have purple out here, it's because of the Appalachian Mountains, so that it'll come around southern Kentucky and come back near the Knoxville area into the areas of the Franklin area of North Carolina. That's only because of the Rockies, or not the Rockies, the Appalachians. I apologize, I meant Appalachians, and then that'll go around Virginia up to the New England area into Maine and the Massachusetts area. Now for who will have the snowiest winter based on average, it's in the pink color, which is the third shade, through the areas of Michigan, Wisconsin, Madison, through the areas of Chicago, Springfield, most of Indiana, some areas in that little northern tip of Kentucky, most of the areas of all of Ohio, northern Virginia, and West Virginia will definitely be seeing a lot more snow in West Virginia, because of these Appalachian mountains, and then most of the mid-Atlantic will have way more snow, including the Syracuse area, the Albany area, through Connecticut and all of New York and Delaware, and then again we'll have in this little yellow color slightly below average snowfall. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe, and bye guys.